weakest, lamest lineup of training partners I ever even heard of.
I'm just looking at your little frame.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of an injured gazelle.
But now, as the fight comes closer, he's like a scared little boy, trying to pass the spotlight off, trying to pass the spotlight on me.
Two men, one cage, and a rivalry that nobody saw coming until it exploded across the entire sport. Conor McGregor.
Even that little skinny twerp that he does the open workout, he even tried to plug him at the last press conference.
And he'll beat your ass too.
Exactly, he's trying to. He has a bully mentality until a real man shows up. Like we're never gonna cross this river again.
Where's your boxing? Who do you train with? You got that little goofy motherfucker with you?
Nate Diaz. Not planned, not scripted, just chaos on 11 days' notice that changed the trajectory of two careers forever. This is how it happened.
It doesn't matter what weight divisions or anything, or even what belt is on the line, because really I should create my own belt. It doesn't matter if it's the featherweight, the lightweight, the welterweight, it's the McGregor belt.
I've been in these big ass shows for hella years, before this guy even existed. So
how's it feel to be a millionaire now? It's nice, right?
So I'm like, who's the bums? That funny motherfucker with the stupid haircut?
It's nice, right? Let's be honest, come on.
I don't give up.
I don't give up either.
He's talked a lot previous, said he was gonna do this and gonna do that. Now we're up here, we're doing this, and he is saying absolutely no.
Before the trash talk, before the blood, before the legend, there were two fighters standing in completely different places. One was a rising villain, feared and hated in equal measure. The other, a quiet veteran, overlooked, underestimated, and running out of patience with the sport. To understand how this rivalry became one of the most explosive in UFC history, you have to go back. Back to who Nate Diaz was. Back to who Conor McGregor was becoming. Because neither man expected the other. And that's exactly why it worked. Nate Diaz wasn't a nobody. By 2016, he'd already fought in two weight classes, lightweight and welterweight, and made noise in both. He'd even challenged for the lightweight title. Matchmakers respected him. Fans respected him. But respect doesn't always translate into opportunity. After losing that title shot, Diaz's relationship with the UFC turned complicated. He didn't know who he needed to beat to climb back into contention. Worse, there weren't many fighters left that actually excited him. Motivation was drying up, and so was his patience. He called out the biggest name in the sport, the reigning featherweight king, the notorious Conor McGregor. Nobody expected it. Diaz wasn't chasing fame. He wanted a real fight, real money, real recognition. And for a fighter who'd spent years being overlooked, calling out McGregor wasn't disrespect. It was survival. A statement that Nate Diaz wasn't finished. Not even close. In December 2015, he'd just destroyed featherweight legend Jose Aldo. In 13 seconds. One punch, world title gone. McGregor wasn't just a champion anymore. He was a phenomenon. McGregor's ambition didn't stop there. He wanted history. A second title in a second division. So he skipped the entire lightweight top 5 and went straight for the champion, Rafael dos Anjos. No warm-up fights, no hesitation. Just the belt or nothing at all. Everything was lined up until injury struck. RDA pulled out of training camp, forced to withdraw from what would have been the biggest payday of his career. For most fighters, that's the end of a fight week. For McGregor, it was just the start of chaos. McGregor refused to sit out. He told the UFC he still wanted to fight. Opponent didn't matter. That single decision set off one of the most unpredictable chains of events in company history. Diaz accepted almost instantly, knowing a fight with McGregor would pay more than his last 10 fights combined. 2 weeks' notice, no fear at all, and just like that, the pieces were set. A featherweight champion moving up 2 weight classes. A frustrated veteran with something to prove. Both men walking into UFC 196 with wildly different levels of preparation. And absolutely zero respect for each other. The promotional run for UFC 196 was unlike anything fans had seen. McGregor mocked Diaz's size, his style, his career. Diaz didn't play along with the theatrics. He just stared back, unbothered, unimpressed, and somehow that made everything even more electric. McGregor genuinely believed Diaz was beneath him. He pointed to Diaz's loss against Josh Thompson as proof.
You'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing.
Slap that.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the road.
Round 1 belonged to McGregor. Fast hands, sharp counters. He hurt Diaz early, tagging him with a left hand that had already ended championship reigns. For a moment, it looked exactly like everyone predicted, a short night for the Irishman, another highlight finish. But Diaz didn't fold. He weathered the storm, absorbed shot after shot, and stayed composed while McGregor burned through his energy trying to close the show early. That decision would cost McGregor everything, because Nate Diaz doesn't break under pressure. He never has. By round 2, the fight flipped entirely. McGregor was gassed. Diaz found his range, landed combination after combination, and suddenly the champion was the one retreating. The crowd went silent. This wasn't the script anyone had written for the Notorious. Diaz pressed forward, backing McGregor into the cage, unloading with the composure only a veteran carries. Then came the finish, a rear naked choke, forcing McGregor to tap. The entire arena erupted. The unbeatable aura around Conor McGregor had just been shattered.
Holy shit.
No, he came out like I expected, and people want.
The rematch was originally planned for UFC 200, the promotion's biggest card of the year. A press conference was scheduled to build the hype. McGregor didn't show up. The fallout was instant, and for a moment, the rematch looked ready to collapse entirely. Behind the scenes, tension boiled over between McGregor and the UFC. The fight got pulled from the card completely. Fans were furious. Diaz stayed mostly quiet, letting the drama play out, confident the fight was too big for the UFC to walk away from. Eventually, cooler heads prevailed. The rematch was rescheduled for UFC 202, August 20th, 2016, in Las Vegas. This time, McGregor promised a different outcome. A full camp, a real game plan, and a chance to prove the first fight was just an accident. The build-up to UFC 202 hit an entirely different level of intensity. McGregor trained with a purpose this time. No distractions, no overconfidence. He studied what went wrong, corrected his pace, and built a game plan specifically designed to survive the storm Diaz had unleashed in round 2 of their first encounter. Diaz, meanwhile, stuck to his usual approach. Full camp. No excuses. No changes to what had worked before. August 20th arrived. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, packed beyond capacity. Two fighters who'd already given the sport one all-time classic were about to step in for round 2 of a rivalry that had taken over the entire combat sports world. From the opening bell, this fight looked nothing like the first. McGregor was patient, calculated, mixing in leg kicks and combinations instead of hunting an early finish. Diaz pressed forward as always, but McGregor wasn't gassing out this time. The game plan was working. Diaz, unsurprisingly, wasn't convinced he'd lost. He believed he'd done enough over 5 rounds to win the rematch, but regardless of the scorecards, something had already been decided outside the octagon. Nate Diaz was no longer just McGregor's opponent. He was his equal. That night in Las Vegas marked the unofficial end of one of the most unexpected rivalries in UFC history. 2 fights, 2 different outcomes, and a level of mutual respect neither man fully admitted to the cameras, but both clearly carried with them after UFC 202. Their careers split in completely different directions. McGregor chased boxing, business ventures, and a super fight with Floyd Mayweather that made him one of the richest athletes on the planet. The Diaz rivalry became just one chapter in a much bigger story.